Welcome back to Devil Details, and welcome to our special, super awesome bonus episode that we have been working on for months now. We're so excited to bring it to you. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Kristen.
And we have a third co-host on this episode.
Yay.
What? Third co-host. Joining us on this episode is my sister, Heidi. What's up, Heidi?
Hello. Thanks for having me on. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Heidi has been helping us run our social media pages and has been really kind of a pivotal part of our show, sort of behind the scenes.
Bouncing ideas off of her.
Yeah.
Especially for the clues that you guys have seen.
and screaming at me when you guys get cool guests and stuff.
Yeah. She was in our very small circle of people who knew about our guests as we booked them for the show. So it's good that we had her along. So Heidi's joining us today because she helped us collect all of your guys' answers to this special question that we posed. You've heard us ask it a few times on the show and on our social media pages. The question is, if you were in Jimmy Keene's shoes and you were offered the deal to get out of prison in exchange for working with the FBI to get a confession from a serial killer, would you take the deal, and how do you think you would handle it? So we asked you guys, and you definitely came through for us. We're going to read some of your answers on the podcast today.
Yay.
So I think we just get into it. Heidi.
All right.
You have collected all these answers. So can you read our first listener answer to the question?
Okay. This first one is from Twitter. Ashley says, so if I was Jimmy, I too would be hesitant because of how they screwed him over. However, once I saw the file with what he did with the little girls, I would have jumped on the opportunity to keep that psycho in prison for sure.
Cool. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Ashley's actually been really fun to to follow her journey of listening to our podcast on Twitter, because she found our Twitter early on, but she didn't want to listen to the podcast until after she was done with Blackbird. So she's been like following along with our tweets, but not our podcast until very recently. So it's been fun to.
And it's fun to watch her, to see her reaction to her listening to each episode.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Yeah. That's right.
So thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Who's next?
All right. Most of these are from Instagram, so that's where these are from. Noel Scott 14 says, "Oh man, that's tough. I don't think a guy like me fares well in jail, and the fear would be real all the time. But to be able to get out, I think I roll the dice and work to get the confession."
Cool.
Thanks, Noel.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Who else do we have?
This one is For the Love of Madden. And they say,
Amazing.
Tough decision. I don't know if I could take the mental pain of doing something like this. I think that's totally fair.
That's a very valid point.
Right. It's like, yeah.
We definitely saw it wasn't easy.
Yeah. We'll talk about like our answers to this question too in a little bit, but it's definitely a thought-provoking thought exercise. It's hard
absolutely.
to figure out what you would do in that situation if you're not in it, you know?
This next one is from Pedro's Him, Her, M. Pascal. It's a long one. Sorry if I
love it.
sorry if I butchered your username, but
I think you got it.
They say, I would definitely take the deal, but hesitate and worry afterwards. I'd be dealing with a serial killer, and I'd have to hear his accounts of murder. It would be disturbing to hear, and I would have to gather myself and try to keep a healthy mindset. But I would try my best to get the confession out of him. I'm good at reading people's emotions, so it would be slightly more emotional for me, but easier at the same time. But to do that and have my name cleared, I would try my hardest.
That's a good one, too.
Good answer. I think everyone's answers have been really good. Kristen, do you want to read one? Maybe we can...
Sure. I can read the next one. This one's from Taryn the Eagle.
That's Linda.
Oh yeah.
Taryn the Eagle is Linda. She's also a big help. She's a helper on our show too. She's really awesome. So thanks, Linda.
Yeah.
What does Linda say?
And she says, yes, I would take this deal of a lifetime. It's definitely my own life on the line, but to make a sacrifice where I would be talking and getting... sorry, I lost it. Getting a confession from a serial killer, I would have to bite my tongue and take it with a grain of salt. I feel my emotions would get the best of me, but it would be for the sake of the families to get comfort and peace knowing where their children are at the very end. But it would be nerve-wracking to be a part of a new environment and keeping this information as tight-lipped as you can without giving too much away. But it's worth the risk and a mighty big choice to make. Thought out one.
True story. Okay, maybe I'll read one. Let's see here. This is from Duchess Fifi. She says, I would take it, but more than likely ruin it as I am obsessed with crime and murder podcasts. I'd want to get so many details and info, I'd blow it for being too enthusiastic. I'd forget my purpose to be there and not give any of the information back. She would just start her own podcast about it instead of solving the problem.
Like only murders in the building.
Yeah. All right. Who else do we have?
I can read Robin's. Robin said, I would like to think I would do what Jimmy Keene did, but in reality, I don't think I would honestly be able to go into a prison like where Larry Hall was placed.
It was a scary place. In the show, they made it more dramatic, I think, too.
Yes.
But it was literally a prison for the criminally insane.
Yes.
Solid answer. All right, who's next?
Evelyn is Punk says,
Fantastic.
It would be a difficult decision to make. Being up close to a serial killer and trying to get a confession out of them would be terrifying, but I would not want to spend 10 years in prison. If I did take the deal, it would give me the opportunity to help some families receive closure and peace from the confession, so I think I would do it. I do know I would come out of it a different person if I went through what Jimmy did. I would definitely need therapy after experiencing something like that. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The therapy thing. Yeah. I hope that the real Jimmy Keene went through some, got some help after that ordeal.
I also hope that for Jimmy.
So Prince Sarah says, yes, I would take the deal. There's no way I would make it 10 years in jail. But I know myself well enough to say I can do something hard for a shorter period of time with the chance of not surviving it. I would believe my life was over anyway with 10 years of jail time, so why not take the chance? Dang. I think that's kind of part of the approach that Jimmy had, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, 10 years is going to ruin my life. I need to get out of here way sooner than 10 years.
Yeah.
Take a
Makes
gamble.
sense.
I have one more written.
Let's go.
It's a beefy one, but it's good.
It's a beefy one? It's a novel?
It's long, but it's
Read
good.
us a book, Heidi. Who's it from?
Taryn.Plakeland.
Oh, okay.
Now, obviously, Jimmy had more motivations to get out of prison as fast as possible than just the prospect of freedom with his father's health declining. When eventually Macaulay starts questioning whether Larry has actually done what he's accused of, we see Jimmy grow beyond his original motivations of being free and with his father. He really wants to make sure somebody like Larry never gets released again. This is the sentiment that I'd personally relate to. Being told that they estimate I have the capability and skill to befriend Larry Hall would definitely impact my decision. However, knowing how rarely I've experienced true danger from other people and how much my rare encounters have shocked me where I was threatened with actual physical violence by strangers, I don't think I'd be up to it. I live in a very safe place in the world, one with the highest human development index scores, great connectivity, people-centric city planning in most spaces, great affordable education and healthcare, and all of the safety means people in my country walk to their friends' houses alone, starting at certain ages. They take public transport alone to see their grandparents, etc. Any of the rare times I experienced true threatening behavior from a stranger is burned into my memory and activates my fight or flight response to this day. I am simply not accustomed to harsh environments like Springfield Prison. They would wreck my protected young soul. While watching a series like Blackbird helps me confront the horrors in this world, it is still not the same as experiencing Jimmy's journey for yourself. I'd wager I might grow from it, but it has the potential to break me with lasting damage. I would, therefore, not take the deal. I do not consider myself capable enough and would rather not screw up. Send somebody else in that can actually do it and keep Paul locked away.
Very well thought out answer.
Yeah, extremely well thought out.
Yeah. And definitely not a listener in America, right?
Dun, 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 dun.
Anyway, thank you so much for that answer. Thank you, everyone, for sending in answers to this question. It was really interesting to hear everyone's sort of perspective on how they would go about doing it. Oh, wait, we have one more listener answer.
Yes.
It was a voice recording sent in by friend of the show, Scarlett Green. So we'll play that for you here real quick.
I have heard on the podcast multiple times Kristen, whenever she is giving her opinion on something related to a decision that maybe a character has made or a motive that a character has in Blackbird that, well, I don't know for sure. I haven't served time in prison, and she always kind of says it as this joke, and I chuckle every time. And although I have not served time in prison or jail, and I have not been arrested, I have actually sold drugs before. And so I do feel like I have some idea. I mean, the smallest idea, but still some idea of what I would do in this situation that Jimmy's in. And I also do have a family member with poor health, and just like Jimmy with his dad. And so for me, if I was serving time in prison as Jimmy is, and then offered this potentially completely commuted sentence and almost immediate freedom if I can get a confession out of a suspected serial killer, I would no doubt take the deal, even though there are obviously numerous risks involved. I would take the deal, especially if a family member had a stroke or just another major medical emergency while I was serving time, especially towards the beginning of serving time, and knowing that it's going to be a 10-year sentence, and knowing that that family member might not make it until I'm free again. I would 100% take the deal with all of the risk involved, just for the chance at getting back to family. As far as how I would go about actually eliciting the confession, it would be, I think, somewhat a similar approach to the approach that we see Jimmy taking in Blackbird. It would just be about trying to make friends in a way that they could feel that they could confide in me. I think I would have quite an advantage in that area, being a therapist in my daily life. I need people to tell me about themselves so that I can maybe see some blind spots and help them with really whatever they're coming to me for. It's always client led, and I do what I can to just shine some light and show a different perspective on something, just based off of information that I'm given by the client. And so I feel like because I already do that for a living, I would take a very similar approach in this situation that Jimmy's in.
Thank you, Scarlett.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So now I think this is the exciting part that y'all are waiting for, except for people who sent in answers. I think it's probably exciting to hear your answers read aloud.
Yeah.
That's fun. So here's another exciting part of the show. We asked some of our friends of the show,
Yes.
friends of Blackbird, not friends of Blackbird. What am I trying to say? We asked our guests who have talked to us on the show, we asked them this question as well. So we have a bunch of really great answers from a bunch of really awesome people that you guys know and love already. So we are going to play those for you. So first up is Laney Stiebing, who played Jessica Roach in Blackbird. So this is what she had to say.
If I were in Jimmy's shoes, would I take the deal? I honestly don't know. And it's funny they asked this question because when my mom and I were watching the first episode, she asked me the same question. And I couldn't give her an answer because the more I thought about it, the more confused I got. I mean, I'd love to say, yes, I would do it, for the freedom and for the purpose of keeping Larry behind bars. But the more I thought about it and how physically and mentally and emotionally draining that task is, not only the obvious, like, it's dangerous, it's a, high security prison, but also the mental and emotional toll that task would have on you, and it has on Jimmy, of having to befriend someone who's done those terrible things. Being friends with someone, that includes accepting them for who they are, and that can be very difficult when that person has done these terrible things and you have the task of having to accept it and act like it's okay. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can say one way or the other for sure unless you're completely in that situation.
Next up, we have Cade Tropeano, who played young Larry Hall.
I love Cade.
He's great.
Love
his
Cade.
episode was so good.
He had a really good answer, too.
He did have a good answer. So here's Cade Tropeano.
Yes, I would have taken the deal. 10 years is a long time to stay in prison, and coupled with the fact that Jimmy's dad was in such poor health, most definitely, I would have done it. It would have been very difficult to go in knowing you have to befriend someone as demented as Larry Hall, but weighing not ever seeing my dad alive outside of the prison walls would have made it doable.
All right, next up is Blue Clarke, who played young Jimmy Keene.
Blue is the
We
best.
also love Blue.
Love Blue so much.
As a behind-the-scenes person, I don't know if you want me to say this now, but Blue has been so supportive of the show the whole time, responding to all of the posts, liking everything. I mean, it's so heartwarming. It's so heartwarming.
Yeah, we love Blue.
Yeah, it's great.
Big, huge fans of Blue Clarke here. So here is Blue's answer to the question.
So this is a great question. If I was given the deal that Jimmy Keene was given, would I take it? I would like to think I would, so yeah. It wouldn't be easy, that's for sure, but it was the right thing to do.
Next, we have Cecilia, who played Rochelle in the show.
Cecilia Leal.
Yeah, she had a really good, I think, reason for her answer. I liked hers.
If I were in Jimmy Keene's shoes and I was offered this deal, would I do it? And how would I handle it? I probably would not take the deal, only because I am the world's most afraid person of everything. I mean, obviously that's an exaggeration, but yeah, I don't think I could. I'm much too fragile emotionally. I don't think I could handle it. I really don't. If I did take it, I would not handle it well. I would be an anxious wreck. I'd probably have a mental break, to be honest. But yeah, I don't think I could do it.
And next we have dialect coach to Taron Egerton, Carter Bellaimey, who gave his answer.
Yay, Carter.
Oh man, I've thought about your last question a lot of if I was in Jimmy's shoes, could I take the deal? Could I do it? And I think I would love to be, I don't know, I guess for some reason I think I'd like to be cool and say yes, but I don't even know if it's cool. Like, no, there's no way I could do it. I'd be way too nervous. I'd be way too sweaty. Like, oh no, I'm just not cut out for it. I'm too much of a like golden retriever of a person to be, as cool under pressure as Jimmy was and as Taron is in the show. Just, I think a big old no for me. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so next up. Next we have Joe Williamson.
Joe.
Super friend of the show. We love Joe so much. The thing about Joe's answer, I mean, no, it's a great answer. I'm not saying anything about his answer specifically, but we talked to Joe like over 2 months ago now. Yes. And the idea for this episode specifically was not really fully formed yet. So we weren't able to ask him when we had him for an interview.
Yes.
But being the super amazing person that he is, when we asked him if he would answer it for us, he was nice enough to send us a voice clip of his answer.
Yeah.
And of course, it was brilliant.
Yes.
So here is Joe Williamson answering the question. He played C.O. Carter on the show, if you forgot. I don't know.
Would I take the deal that Jimmy was offered? Oh, wow. I think, first of all, we have to acknowledge that talking about it theoretically is so much different than to actually be in that situation and to actually face that choice. But theoretically speaking, there's so many different factors. How comfortable / terrible is his current prison experience where he's at? How confident is he that he can get the job done? How willing is he to get close to a man who has done these terrible, terrible, awful things? And then obviously also the situation with his father. If he has 10 years of a sentence left and he knows that if he serves all that, he's not going to see his father ever again outside of prison. Of course, that's a huge factor. My gut instinct is that were I in Jimmy's shoes, I would take the deal. I would bet on myself, and I would hope that I could get some incriminating evidence, keep him in jail, and get out myself. But again, we have to acknowledge that it's one thing to talk about it and another to be in those shoes and to be facing that decision. That would be overwhelming in so many ways. But that's my answer.
Next, we have Cullen Moss, who played Detective Russ Aborn in the first 2 episodes. Cullen was a gem to talk to. I loved every minute of it and was so funny, and his answer is amazing. I loved hearing it.
It is. I just have to say there were quite a few little bits and pieces that we had to cut out of Cullen's interview just because we talked to him about how we were going to have Paul on the show and we couldn't have that in there. And then for this section, he was so much fun. Yeah. So I'm really excited that you guys get to listen to more of our conversation with Cullen because it was so much fun.
Now you had mentioned you had emailed like a super secret question. Did you want to hit that?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So it's separate from the rest because it's going to be on its own episode because we've asked pretty much everyone that we've already talked to, and so it's going to be like everyone's answers compiled into one episode. So
very good.
But yeah, so if you were in Jimmy's shoes, do you think you would take the deal? How do you think you would handle that?
Now, why does it matter what brand of footwear I'm wearing? Jimmy Choo's, you say?
Jimmy Choo's shoes.
If I were in Jimmy's shoes, well, I see. I want to say, I want to say that I would do it. I want to say I would do it. Now, is it Agent Macaulay asking me?
Sure.
Because I think she was a factor. I think, so actor me would be like, I'm doing 10 years and I'm going to go and play a role and play spy to do that. Like that would intrigue me. And I'd be like, I'd be stupidly of the mind, what can I lose? Obviously we see how dangerous, in reality, how it plays out and how dangerous and that it's not just this fun game of spy. Obviously, like he's playing with his life, and it's much more dangerous than Jimmy had thought. But I think, I think I would, and I think to have Sepideh Moafi be the person presenting this doesn't hurt. I think one, she knew how to appeal to his ego. I think it's so like, and then she turned, and I'm not saying she's certainly not one dimensional in that aspect. Then she turns on the no nonsense shit and like no bullshit. I'm not, hey, you think this is all cutesy shit, but there's a reason I'm asking you these questions. But still, that hook is in him a little bit, and so I think she makes it hard to say no, and also, you don't you go in and you feel at that. You're somebody that age and you feel like you're in the prime of your life, you don't want 10 years to go by in the prison. So you have a chance to go in and do this thing. And like I said, play spy a little bit and do it. Sure.
I mean, he really did have to put on an act. He had to put on a mask and play a character, play this friend to this guy. So
yeah. And God, and I mean, Taron did that so I mean, his Jimmy played that so well, and I mean, Taron played him playing that so well. Just the all the different layers there were must have been so delicate, and he handled that so well. The scene, the scene in the wood shop, where he does that, where he's having his first he's breaking it down to him for the first time, and him having to hear about, and him listening to it.
Eyes. You can see it in his eyes.
Right. But he's having to play that role of like, no, you did what you had to do. Like, it sounds to me like you did what you had to do. Like that whole scene was just brilliant. They both Paul and Taron killed that, and Natalie, the way that was shot. And I read an article about the evolution of that scene and how the changing of the light as the rainstorm kind of comes on as they're doing this, the darkness descending is just brilliant.
Yeah. It's so good. It's funny because we talked to Natalie for our episode 4, and so we were asking her like, oh, what was your favorite part of the show? And she's like, it's actually in episode 5, and I can't really tell you a lot about it. And like, and after the call, she was like, I don't want to give anything away, but it's the wood shop scene.
Yeah,
just look out for that scene.
Like you'll know what that is when you see it.
Yeah, and then we watched it, and we're like, oh, I get it, got it. That yep. Agreed.
So did I just like mess up and like go? Okay, good.
No, that was great.
Not at all.
Did she mention like and one of the actors that was like in 2 scenes just shows up at this after party?
Just crashed our after party. No,
we're having a good time. We're like, what's up with the randos?
No one mentioned the after party, so you made a good impression.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So next up is Jake McLaughlin, who played Gary Hall on the show. So much fun talking to Jake. I loved it. I like how most of our conversation, it was like maybe half Blackbird and half just everything else in life. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
But we had him answer this question, and he had no hesitation. What did you say, Heidi?
I said he's extremely down to earth. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, very down to earth, like ready to just fish for a living.
Yeah, I would say it was just like sitting and just like drinking a beer with a friend, talking to him.
Well, not beer.
We weren't drinking. But we were drinking water, actually.
Yeah. Plus, Jake doesn't drink alcohol anymore. So here's Jake McLaughlin. So we have one question that we are asking everyone, and we're going to put it in a bonus episode all together. And I should have sent it to you ahead of time, and I just didn't think about it. But so we're asking everyone this. So if you were in Jimmy Keene's shoes and you were offered this deal to get out of prison in exchange for working with the FBI to get a confession from a serial killer, do you think you would take the deal, and how do you think you would handle that?
Without question. If I'm in prison if I have the potential to just be locked up for, what do you get, a 10-year prison sentence? Expedited sentences to get me out of there. I think if anybody offered me any way to get out of prison, I would 100% take the quickest route out of there. Yeah, without question, I would have taken the role. It wouldn't have been something I would have sat on. Just because I mean, who wants to be locked? Who wants to be locked up like that? Yeah. I don't think it would have been a tough, difficult decision for me to make if I was in his shoes to do it. Plus, it'd be kind of, I wouldn't say fun. It wouldn't be fun. That's for damn sure. But it would be an interesting challenge. And I know interesting is a non-word, but I don't know how I would describe what kind of a challenge it would be.
I mean, it's probably I'm guessing from an acting standpoint, it would be an interesting thing to take on as far, because Jimmy definitely had to put on an act to befriend this guy. And so I think having it be an acting challenge is probably appealing.
Yeah, 100%. And having Taryn do it where you're acting as a person in a show who did this in real life, but also having to act as a person who doesn't act somebody else that they're not. So without being caught and trying to be an act, and it's like an Inception scene. It's kind of crazy to think about, really. So it's but yeah, I don't. And how I would go about doing it, boy. I mean, you'd really I think he went about endearing himself to Larry about as well as he could. With the scene with the television when he beats up that dude and kind of puts the radar there for Larry. I mean, it would have to be one of those things where you'd have to have a game plan for what your plan was to endear yourself to him, slowly over time, but also be flexible in the sense that if something pops up that allows you to take advantage of a situation because it's just some random shit that happens, then you got to be able to be pretty quick on your feet to recognize that that's an opportunity and act upon it. So yeah, that'd be boy. I don't want to be in that situation ever or position, but yeah, I definitely what would get me home, get me out of there quicker. I wouldn't hesitate. No.
Okay, and of course, last but not least by any means, we talked to Paul Walter Hauser, the man who played Larry Hall, the star of the show.
Still can't believe we got to talk to him.
We really talked to him for real.
I have to follow that episode, by the way. I'm the next guest. How are you going to play me like that?
So,
you guys are wrong for this.
The good thing is, no. Sorry, Heidi. The good thing is that you have the help of a bunch of our other previous guests.
Paul is on this episode.
Yeah, Paul's on this episode. Yeah, we have a bunch of our favorite people are on this episode, so it's great. But next up is Paul Walter Hauser's answer. He's fantastic, and he has a fantastic answer, of course.
And I think we were the first ones to ask him this.
We were the first people to ask him this, which made us very excited. He's like, "Good job."
He was very, he was very supportive of your interview skills.
He was, yeah, fantastic. So yeah, here is what Paul had to say. If you were in Jimmy Keene's shoes and you were offered this deal to get out of prison in exchange for working with the FBI to get a confession from a serial killer, do you think you would take the deal, and how do you think you would handle it?
Wow.
It's heavy.
I don't know. Yeah, I've done a lot of interviews for this. I don't know that anyone's asked me that yet. So good job is what I'm saying.
Thanks.
Oh, shoot, man. If I was a single man and I was in Jimmy's shoes and they said you could expunge 8.5 years off your record by befriending the serial killer and trying to get something out of him, and I have to be in prison anyway, I think I'm crazy enough to do it. I think I would, actually.
Yeah.
I really think I would. I could help the families get some justice. Could help take somebody down. It would be a project to do, because when you're in prison, you get so bored. You're reading books. You're trying to exercise. There's so many ways to try to fill the hours of life in there. So I'd imagine I would kind of feel happy to have some sort of job to keep me busy. I don't know. it also sounds overly idealistic, like someone trying to sound brave, but I've also done really crazy brave things to help people in the past. So that, you'd have to know me to know that I probably would go do that.
Yeah. How do you think you would handle it? Like, would it be sort of like how Jimmy did, where he tried to approach him right away, or
I would probably play a character, and I would sort of own that character and go method and try to mirror some of his characteristics, as if to say I'm just like you. And then I would make little comments about weird things that I did or saw or wished I had done that were directly parallel to some of the things in his portfolio that was given to Jimmy Keene. And I would make it about loyalty and just hope that, over time, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, within a month or two, you would hope to have cracked something.
Mm-hmm.
It was also under a time constraint because he had his appeal. And so that makes it much harder too. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. I'm just happy that guy is behind bars and will never be entering our world again to hurt anyone.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's a big thing that I think it's hard to focus on the fact that all of this is real. Everything that the story is describing, for the most part, is based completely in real things that happened, and there are real victims and real families that have to face it. And it's heavy. All right, so that's it for all of our answers sent in by our friends and from
listeners.
Yeah, from our friends. From our friends and listeners.
Everyone's a friend.
We're all friends.
Everyone's a friend.
Listeners are friends too. So
yeah, if you sent in an answer, you are officially on a podcast that Paul Walter Hauser and Jake McLaughlin and all these Joe Williamson and all these people
that could and better win Emmys in a year. So
not the podcast. I don't think there's a podcast Emmy award, and it wouldn't go to our show.
There are podcast awards, though. I don't. It's not Emmys. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't think we're anywhere close to the running for podcast awards.
But we've had some pretty amazing guests that other podcasts have never had. Yeah. So
true story. We are not. What is that one with Will Arnett and Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes? I forgot the name of Smartless. We're not Smartless. It's a good show, though.
Another good one is Dax Shepard's
Armchair Expert.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Very good. So what other podcasts do you guys like? Just talk about podcasts for a second.
Besides this one?
You don't want to know.
Oh, I don't. There's one called This Is the Place. It's available on Spotify. It's a One Tree Hill podcast.
We're really behind on episodes, though, guys. Sorry.
Got to get back on that. Mm-hmm. Can I be a guest on your show? That would be fun.
You gotta watch One Tree Hill, though.
I do have to watch One Tree Hill. Listen, I did. Okay, I watched it back in the day when it was on air, casually. I didn't follow it, and then I recently watched season 1.
Okay.
I don't think I finished season 1 though. I don't know how far I got.
I didn't.
I highly recommend the season finale of season 8.
I will watch only that episode.
I'm in it, so.
Well, you got to watch the one that Kristen is literally in.
But good luck trying to find me.
You haven't seen yourself in that episode either, have you?
I have seen my hand, yes.
Okay, cool.
So as the camera, if you've watched it, camera pans to Joy Lenz, who plays Haley Scott, singing. And as it's panning, there's a hand holding a cup of coffee. And that is me.
That's your hand.
Amazing.
And your cup of coffee.
It's my hand. Yes. It was real coffee, too.
On the same show as Chad Michael Murray and the rest of the people on that show.
Real coffee. You heard it here first, folks.
He was not
real coffee.
Yeah. It was real coffee. It was hot.
Wow. Inside scoop here.
Mm-hmm.
I love
and
it.
The entire cast was in the scene.
The entire cast.
I've got a lot of inside scoop for that one.
I bet. See? So go listen to This Is the Place. This is the place. So yeah. Where were we? So, Heidi.
Yo.
Before we answer this question, can you tell us about your Blackbird watching experience a little bit? Because you are coming at this show from a very different perspective than Kristen and I. I think Kristen and I have a very similar experience when it comes to the show. We both had been following the show for a long time. We both read the book. We both knew a lot about it and a lot about the actors and everything. But you kind of were coming at it blind.
Mm-hmm.
So can you maybe talk about your experience watching the show and how you feel about it?
Yeah. Well, I did not read the book. That's basically what you're referring to. Is I didn't before watching the show. I didn't read the book. I'd never heard of Larry Hall or Jimmy Keene or the story at all, and I knew about the show because of you, obviously, Taryn Edgerton, and I do like learning about true crime things, and I like thriller is like my genre, especially psychological thriller.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more into the horror side, but I like this type of thing, so I was excited to watch it and learn about it. I did know, I think, going in that Larry is in prison for life right now. So I knew that would be the end somehow, but getting there, I had no idea at all what was going to happen from A to B. I didn't, I know now, but I didn't then that the C.O. Carter stuff was made for the show or whatever. That was, not.
Until I was fangirling about Joe Williamson on episode 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not even in the book. It's brand new. I was so excited about it.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But I really enjoyed the show, and I totally agree that Emmys all around.
Emmys all around. Throw the awards at them. SAG awards, whatever awards, all of them.
Golden Globes, all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Natalie Kingston, the way everything was shot was incredible.
So
really
good.
Incredible.
So good.
Yeah, and I mean the acting, incredible. It was all incredible.
Right?
Across
the board too.
Yeah.
Like, of course, Taryn and Paul need all the accolades that they're getting and deserve every single one. But every actor in this show,
even the ones that were just in it for a brief moment.
Yeah.
From
the leads, second leads, supporting cast, down to background actors.
Yeah. Everybody
stunt people, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with stuff like this sort of, this really happened. Larry Hall is a real person. Jimmy Keene is a real person, and they're real victims. And I think that because of the nature of that, I feel like it gets done wrong a lot, and stuff like this gets sensationalized extremely easily, and this is traumatizing for these people's families. You know what I mean? So when you go into something like this, you have to be really careful when you're talking, or when you're showing things like young girls getting murdered. And I think the show did it so incredibly well, because they showcasing the girls as more than just a victim. And the way they did it was so artistic and so beautiful. And that's another kudos to Natalie Kingston and how she, made shots look angelic, and but also real. These are real people, whose families were really affected by it, and I think they just did it with so much respect for that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's a real testament to the writer and showrunner Dennis Lehane too. He
100%.
He handled it so amazingly, and he took this story, which was, reading the book, it's a little bit of a narrative, but it's mostly just a memoir. It's just memories that somebody had, and then there's another half of that story with Larry Hall's upbringing and stuff. But the show, Dennis Lehane took that story and really created a very connected narrative, and the way that the writing was handled as far as the victims go with episode 5 and the Jessica Roach storyline and parts of it with her in it were really just really good.
Yeah, I don't want to call it a love letter, but it was kind of like a very nice tribute to the victims, I think.
Yeah.
Because it didn't sensationalize them or anything. It just gave them...
Exactly. But you also, like, at the same time, you don't lose the fact that Larry Hall is a psychopath.
Right.
Like, that is shown so clearly, and that, that is obviously due to Paul Walter Hauser and his acting, but, also the writing. But, like, it just goes to show, you don't have to show brutal murders to convey this message, and you can do it with respect to victims. In a time where true crime is something that is, such, it's a phenomenon. Like, everybody's listening to one podcast or another, or watching a show, or, docuseries, or whatever the case may be. And so many of them just, they lean the other way. And they
focus on it for purely entertainment value
or shock value.
Yeah. And kind of fall away from the fact that it's a real person, and they turn it into a story. And
and I think Blackbird did it in a way that is A, unique, and B, like, just so respectful.
Really balanced that sort of dynamic of it. It is a TV show for entertainment purposes, but it also makes sure to recognize victims and keep the realness of it. So yeah, totally.
Great show.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Blackbird or about this podcast?
I think just shout out to all the friends on the show who have been, because I've been seeing all the social media stuff from behind the scenes. Like, that's where I've been.
Yeah.
Some of the posts are me and some other things, but it's just really nice that, like, Carter will just like every single tweet, or like Cullen Moss will like every single tweet, and I'm like, what business do I have having these people's attention? I have no business being on the same podcast as Paul Walter Hauser.
That is me and Kristen's sentiments since the beginning. Since before the beginning.
Who are we?
Yeah. Before the beginning, when Joe Williamson and Hillel Levin were like, yeah, let's do this. And we're like, wait, what? You said you do want to do it?
Like, literally every time somebody said, yeah, we'll do it, I'm like, what?
Wait, you will? What?
Yeah.
Why though?
Yeah. And like, I mean, how many in the same day? It was like Paul and Jake, and like there was like a handful of people.
You want to talk about that day? Because we can talk about that day. Kristen and I, okay, and Heidi, obviously, all of us.
And my sister also was part of it.
Yes. It. Oh my God, it was a whole thing. So that was the day before Kristen's birthday, right? August 3rd. August 3rd.
The day that will go down in
2022
of this podcast.
It was a day.
Let me set the face. So the very first text I got, I was sitting in the dentist chair. Numbed with Novocaine, and my watch was dinging like crazy. Well, and I obviously couldn't answer it because I'm, getting dental work done, and I can see what is happening on my watch, and that Sarah is texting me, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even talk. So that's just where I was when that first moment started.
So this day, early in the morning, I woke up early this day. I have notes on because I was like, I want to talk about this. So I woke up earlier than I usually do. And I don't know, I had an anxiety or something. And so I checked my phone first thing, which normally I don't do when I wake up in the morning. Because I'm like, I just need to wake myself up and get ready before I mess with, social media or whatever. Sure. And I checked my phone and I had 2 messages that we had been waiting for. So the first one was from Carter Bellaimey. So we had been talking to Carter already. Mm-hmm. And so he messaged us and let us know, hey, I sent you my voice clips. Let me know if you need anything else and stuff like that. And so I was like, oh, that's so exciting. So yeah, we got Carter's clips that day. And then, so that was the first text I sent Kristen.
Yes. And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Answering from my watch very unenthusiastically because you can't add any emojis or anything.
Right. It was just like, I think that was it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm more excited than Kristen. No, she was just busy.
Yes. I had dentist hands in my mouth.
And then the other message was from Cullen Moss. So Cullen had just replied to us the night before that he would do the show. And so that morning it was like I confirmed all confirmed the recording time and figured all that out with him. So that was the morning. So it was like a great day.
Yeah, it was like all before 9 a.m.
my
time.
It was so early.
It was early.
Yeah. And I just remember, like, I know that you, Kristen, were so excited about Cullen specifically.
Yes.
And so I knew this was like a big this is a big get for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I was excited about Cullen too, for sure. And this all happened. Yeah. You said 9 o'clock for you. It was 6 o'clock for me. So this is like, by like 6:30 a.m., Carter Bellaimey and Cullen Moss were going to be on our podcast. Amazing. And then, so somewhere in there early in the morning, I saw a tweet. This is just another part of the day. I saw a tweet from someone that said, "I'm watching Blackbird for the plot." And the plot was just a picture of Joe Williamson as C.O. Carter.
The C.O. Carter thirst. What?
Yes, a C.O. Carter thirst tweet. It was something else. And so I screenshot it and sent it to Joe and told him that we found another member for the fan club starting for him.
Hilarious.
Yeah, and
it's just so ironic because like he looks so different in the show than he actually does, and he is so handsome.
He's a handsome man.
Not that he wasn't in the show. He was.
He just looks totally different.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so I was messaging back and forth with Joe a little bit that morning because he like sent a tweet back about how Blackbird was like the #1 show streaming at the moment or something like that. And so
yeah.
As it should be.
One new show on Apple or something. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Like the most popular new show overall, not just Apple, which was amazing. And so after that point, oh my God, I forgot some of this happened. I'm so glad I took notes.
Crazy that this all happened in one day.
Yeah. So later in the morning for me, it was like 9:30. I can't believe I took like detailed notes. I was like, I don't want to forget anything that happened this day. So Apple TV Plus tweeted out some pictures from behind the scenes of Blackbird, and it featuring the real Jimmy Keene who came on set. And so I had been waiting for those pictures for a long time. I kept looking. I was like, why haven't Taron Egerton and Jimmy Keene took any pictures together? There was no pictures of them together at the premiere. I was like, why? Where are these pictures? I want to see them together. That would be like a really cool photo opportunity. How has this not happened? Like the only pictures that had both of them in it were like the big group picture of all of the cast and crew at the premiere.
Yeah.
And like Jimmy was like way on the end and Taron was in the middle. So it's like they were not even standing by each other.
Right.
There's one of like Taron in the background of Jimmy being like
interviewed.
Yeah.
There's that one. And then there was another one of Taron with Greg Kinnear like posing together. And then Jimmy was like in the background of that one. I'm like, oh my God, just get those two together. Just one picture. That's all I'm asking.
It seems so obvious. Like,
right. It's like the guy and the guy who plays the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that day, Apple TV Plus tweeted the pictures of Jimmy Keene, like behind the scenes of his appearance on set for episode 6. And there was a great picture of Taron and Jimmy posing together. So that was exciting. I forgot that was that day too.
Yes. Wow. That was a crazy day.
Yeah. And then later that morning, we had a new follower on our Instagram account. His name is Blue Clarke.
Yes.
So you might know him better as Young Jimmy from episode 4 of Blackbird. So he followed us and blew us away by saying that he has been like he really enjoys our podcast.
Yeah, like him and his family.
Yeah, they listen every week and so and
which shout out, if you're listening. Hello.
Yeah, thank you. I feel
So
we say
nice.
every time we mention his name, we're like, and we love Blue Clarke and his family. They're amazing.
Seriously, yeah. Every single post, every single story, it's a little heart react.
I mean, seriously, like the fact that anyone involved in the show listens and even enjoys the podcast makes like it makes this worth it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
More worth it, and like it would be worth it to us already.
And kind when he responds to things. It's
so nice.
So heartwarming.
Like everyone. Like when Hillel Levin called us out for our Taron Egerton love, and then which we had made a little bit too apparent in our pre-show episode that he had listened to.
Fair enough.
But yeah, he was listening, and like, and I thought I was gonna like melt when Joe Williamson said he listened to our Hillel Levin interview.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I could like you could hear it on the episode where I'm like, you listen to, like it was so squeaky.
I get really giggly when They say they listen.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. It's overwhelmingly cool. So, Blue Clarke, sorry.
And we're only at midday. We're only at midday here.
This is 9:30 in the morning for me still, something like that. We asked Blue Clarke to send us some voice clips that day, and he and his family, who, help him run social media and stuff, they were super kind and responsive and sent us clips very shortly after that. So it was amazing. So, huge morning. We have Carter Bellaimey. We have Cullen Moss. We have Blue Clarke. And I distinctly remember texting both Kristen and Heidi, both you guys, I don't even care what happens for the rest of the day.
We're like, this was a great day.
Little did she know.
Yeah. Listeners, I did care what happened.
I think we even said manifesting good thoughts for something.
Yeah.
For future, what else could top it? But we're going to try to manifest something.
Yes. We've been working on our manifestation powers.
And they came to fruition that day.
Yes. So at around 11:30-ish in the morning for me, 2 notifications came through on one of the random posts on our podcast Instagram page. It was a like and a comment. Mm-hmm. It was on an older post. It was the announcement post for our full-length interview with Hillel Levin. Mm-hmm. So at that point, that post was over 3 weeks old.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was random. Mm-hmm. And the comment said, "Hey, let's get me on this podcast this month. They've been supporting our show since day one." So that comment was from Paul Walter Hauser, the man, the myth, the legend, Larry Hall, the star of Blackbird, the movie star, the guy,
insane,
the star of Richard Jewell, the star of.
I'm not the star of I, Tonya, but he was in I, Tonya.
I, Tonya, Cruella, Cobra Kai.
He's the star to me.
He wanted to be on our show.
Crazy. Yeah, that moment that Sarah texted that to me, I was in a meeting, an important meeting that I had to be a pivotal person in, and my phone is going off, and I stopped what I was saying to read the text and was like, oh my God. And I had to try to remain professional because...
Imagine trying to be professional when you found out Paul Walter Hauser wants to talk to you.
My hands were shaking. I blacked out the meeting. I don't remember what I said.
Right.
Thankfully, my part was half done at that point, but gosh. I was like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Right. Yeah.
I had a physical reaction.
Yeah. And I
saw the notification
my stomach dropped.
Because Heidi saw the notifications, and so I was freaking out, texting Heidi and Kristen. Oh my goodness,
there was a lot of incoherent things,
key smashes and emojis and
and words weren't coming out spelled correctly because my hands were shaking,
all caps. Just chaotic. I was at work at the time too when I saw it, and I had to just excuse myself, and I went in the bathroom and hyperventilated, and it was not hyper. It wasn't that dramatic, I guess, but
it felt big at that moment.
Yeah, just with the culmination of everything that had happened in the morning, and then leading up to that, it was oh my God, what is this day? And so, and then, after the comment, it started a flurry of talking to publicity people and emails and nailing down times for Paul's episode. And I was going to say it was a whirlwind, but it kind of wasn't, because we were we were taking time to, email back and forth and, waiting for emails. But obviously it all worked out, and Paul's publicity team was super helpful and awesome about it, and always friendly and willing to work out times for everything. And yeah, it was.
So we were holding that secret for a whole month before we actually recorded the episode. It was literally a month to the day.
Yeah, because after that, we recorded with Cullen. Just when
days.
Did we record? Yeah, just a couple days after.
That was on. We got the notification on Wednesday that he wanted to be on.
Yeah.
So we recorded
with Cullen on
Friday.
Yeah. So we were still buzzing by that point, and we were like, Cullen, we have to tell you a secret. So we told Cullen.
Yeah, so Cullen knew and Jake knew.
Yeah, because then we recorded with Jake the week after that.
2 weeks before, yeah. 2 weeks before Paul.
Yeah, it's we told Jake, and It was fun. It was fun having like these big actors like in our in our circle of trust with this secret.
Right, yeah.
I was like, it was a secret, but I did tell the star of Quantico our secret, so it was.
People would ask me like, "Oh, are you getting the main actors on the show?" I'm like, "Oh, we're trying, you know." And meanwhile, I knew that we had Paul.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what a crazy day.
It's crazy.
And then it was very soon after. It wasn't that day specifically, but soon after that, Jake McLaughlin was like, was messaging us like, "Oh, hey, sorry, I didn't see this sooner. I'm listening to your podcast now." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And you
said you're doing what?
You're are you listening to episode 4? Because I just want to explain. No.
Do you want to do the podcast after listening? He did.
He did, yeah. We're like, he's going to cancel on us at any moment as soon as he hears I couldn't watch the episode because I was just staring at Jake McLaughlin's eyelashes.
I have no idea what happened in that scene.
Shout out Jake McLaughlin's eyelashes.
Yes. Yeah, what a great day that was.
It was.
August 3rd, 2022. A historic day. We'll celebrate the anniversary of that day.
Maybe there'll be another one in September.
Yeah.
Throwing it out there.
Yes. Stars. Manifest. Anyway, we have yet to answer this question that we've asked everyone.
We're procrastinating, I think.
We are, yeah. It's a hard question. It's a hard thing to think about. Heidi, let's start with you. Do you have an answer? Okay. You've heard everyone else's answers.
Read them all. Yeah, I want to say yes, I would take the deal. I want to say that. Because 10 years in prison sounds horrific. But I don't think anything sounds worse than having to interact with Larry Hall. Because the guy seems awful. And something about me, none of you guys know me. Sarah does. Kristen does a little bit. But something about me is I don't like talking to regular people. Just normal people who aren't serial killers.
Just non-serial killer people, even.
I don't like talking to them when I have to talk to them. Even when I'm getting paid to talk to them, I don't want to do it. And I would like nothing more than to not be doing that when I am doing it.
So if you're wondering why Heidi hasn't appeared on the podcast before, where this audio medium where you literally just talk to people.
Right. Right. I'm having a great time.
We love having you on.
I'm happy to have you on.
I really am.
Okay.
It's fun. I'm having fun. But
you sound like it.
Great. But, I want to say that I would, do the right thing and try to keep Larry Hall behind bars. But on the other hand, I don't want to. And also, probably someone could do it better than me. So
I don't want to.
So probably not.
Fair enough. How about you, Kristen? I'm gonna make you guys answer mine.
I've been thinking about this obviously for a long time because I've known we were going to do this for a long time. And I keep going back and forth with my answers. I have a lot of feelings. So I think I would want to say yes because I would not fare well in prison. I couldn't handle it. I think I've talked about it before. I just couldn't handle that whole thing. So I think I would try to do whatever I could to get out as quick as possible. And I think I would be a good candidate for it because I can kind of, I'm an empath, so I can kind of take on other people's emotions and kind of relate to them that way. So I think I could relate to Larry as an empath. Like I could make him feel like I was his friend and get him to talk. I feel like that's one of my strengths is getting people to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I could get the information. But then there's part of me that's, because I'm an empath, I don't know that I could mentally handle the information. So I'd have a really hard time dealing with it because I have a hard time in real life dealing with that stuff. So I don't know that I could listen to it and process it. But I'm also really good at disconnecting myself from that stuff. So maybe I could. I don't know. I think I would want to do it and give it a shot. Because what do I have to lose? I'm still in prison for 10 years. So even if I don't do it, I'm in prison. So like I didn't lose anything, I guess, except freedom. But I don't know. I want to say that I would do it and I think I could do it. But then I think I'd also have a really hard time with the information, I think. So long answer to say, I think I could do it.
Yeah.
I'd give it a good shot.
The second I see Larry Hall pulling the middle out his bread, I'm like, bro.
Bro.
Come on, man.
But then I don't know that I, as being an introvert, being an introvert, I don't know that I would just walk up to Larry and just start talking to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big.
I don't know that
advantage that Jimmy had was he was very like outgoing and had a big personality, and
like I'd just be sitting on the side waiting for somebody to talk to me, or I would listen, like eavesdrop, and try to get the information that way.
Maybe he'll tell somebody else.
Yeah. Or like if he's reading a book, be like, oh, what's that book? Maybe that's how I would do it. Or help him paint the birds. I don't know. I don't know that I could just approach him and say, so what's up? Yeah. But again, I don't think I would ever make it in prison. So the fact that I wouldn't even, I don't think I would be given the opportunity, first of all. Because they'd be like, no, she can't cut it in that prison.
She hasn't stopped crying for a year. So
prison and I just probably wouldn't do well together. There's a lot.
Won't catch Kristen breaking any laws anytime soon.
No. And that's another thing. I'm too much of a rule follower, I think, to do it. Because I'd feel bad. Yeah, I don't know. My heart says I want to do it, but I don't know if my brain would let me.
Fair.
What about you, Sarah?
What about you, Sarah?
Guys, obviously I have tried to think and reflect on this question for a very long time, because I came up with it. And we've also asked this question of a lot of people, and we've heard so many different perspectives and just really thoughtful answers from everyone that you've heard in this episode. And so yeah, I've been thinking and reflecting on it obviously a lot, and it's hard. There's a lot to think about when deciding, when Jimmy is first introduced to this opportunity, he's presented with all this information about who Larry is and what he did, and all these horrifying things, and not like in full detail, but just, I mean, in the book it does say that they showed him pictures of the victims, and he really, they let him know what he was going up against, and that would be terrifying if someone just showed me these, pictures of mutilated girls and was like, this guy did this. Do you want to try and help keep him in prison? And just knowing that this guy is capable of that would be hard to deal with. And then, I mean, so being presented with this opportunity, there's the obviously appealing factor of being let out of prison early. And I've never been in prison or in jail or anything. And so it's hard to gauge how I would feel in that situation, especially after, because Jimmy was approached months after already being in prison. So I don't know. I could only imagine thinking I would want to get out as soon as possible, to be with family again. And on top of that, simple motivation, having a father who's sick and knowing that he doesn't have a lot of time left. I think that makes it a yes for me. I would give anything to have more time with my father, and so than I did. So that really weighed heavily on that weighs heavily on me, and I think pushes me enough to say that I would say yes. Like just the motivation alone, I would agree to do it. As far as how I would do it is insane to think about. Because I don't know that I have the right personality to do something like this, but I don't know. I'd give it a shot, and if someone's approaching me and telling me that I'm who they need for this, then yeah. I honestly don't have a good answer on how I would do it, but yeah, I think I would take the shot.
Yeah, see, you know what? It wouldn't be presented to me to begin
exactly.
Yeah. I wouldn't be the person they need.
They would say, no, not that one. No. Moving right along.
I wouldn't know this is happening until I saw the show coming. So. And I wouldn't, because I'd be in prison still.
Until you read the book about your cellmate.
I think I would be approached because I am a good, like, I can get people to talk.
Yeah.
And I'm a good listener. So I think they would, like, want me for that purpose. But I'm an introvert and don't approach people. So for that, they may be like, maybe not. But maybe I can work in tandem with somebody that's really confident and outgoing, and then I can just be the listener and gather the information.
Right. I would be so happy with being the FBI agent on the outside. Yes. That's pretending to be Jimmy Keene's girlfriend.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And help him out that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, being
I don't want to be a cop.
Well, yeah, no. I don't want to be a cop either, but but I think that would be a better fit for me than
I
a prisoner.
Pretend to be Taron Egerton's girlfriend.
Pretending to be Taron's girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be an actor in the show, actually. That's my choice.
My contribution to this situation is being in the show. This podcast.
I could play bocce ball in the yard with Jimmy.
I would be the mob boss, teaching Jimmy Keene how to play bocce ball.
I've never played bocce ball, so I don't know that I would actually be doing that. To be serious, I would probably be painting the birds for Larry because I like to paint things.
That's Gary's job, though.
I'd be in the library. Yeah, but I'd be in the library. That's where I would be. I'd be watching TV.
You would be the leper prisoner.
I would.
Watching America's
Carter.
Most Wanted.
I'd be sitting with Carter.
Yeah.
Just sitting there, quiet.
Yeah.
And judging everybody that's eating their bread from the center and
putting his thumb through it.
Yeah.
Like for what? Serial killer. Immediately. Yeah. Anyone who suspected otherwise after that point, you're not paying attention. Mm-hmm. Cool. Good answers, guys. Good answers, everyone.
Good answer. Good answer.
Family Feud. Clap.
You can say add claps.
Don't literally clap. You want me to add a clapping sound effect?
Because they weren't very loud.
Add the Family Feud.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer.
Good answer.
Mm-hmm. The little ding when the answer flips over. Add that.
Yeah, so super special shout out to Laney Stiebing, Cade Tropeano, Blue Clarke, Cecilia Leal, Carter Bellaimey, Joe Williamson, Cullen Moss, Jake McLaughlin, and Paul Walter Hauser for giving us your answers to this question and participating in the podcast in general. You guys,
yes,
all of you guys are so awesome. I like.
It's still amazing. Hard to believe. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Also, thank you to our listeners who sent things in. You really came through for us on this one, which is amazing.
And thank you in general for just like sharing about each episode, commenting each week.
Just really overall for supporting us, rating us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yes. I don't know if people are doing that actually, but if you do, thank you. It probably helps. I don't really know a lot about podcast analytics, but that's probably
we just
helpful.
Know that every time our numbers jump each week, we freak out.
Yes.
So it's hard to believe.
Yeah. So thank you to all of you guys who are listening right now.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully we didn't lose you in this episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't scare anybody off.
Yeah, Heidi won't be here every time, guys. Don't worry.
No,
I know she's frightening. I know she has a lot of Stephen King tattoos all over her arm that you can't see.
They can't see.
Stephen King is a fan of the show. Not
King.
Not our podcast. I don't know if Stephen King listens. That would be cool, though.
He does.
Thank you for listening, Stephen King.
I love your books.
Well, he probably doesn't.
Heidi, you actually don't know who listens to the show, so we don't know either. So
I wish it told us.
We know that Blue Clarke listens because he told us.
I wish we could figure out who has listened.
Yeah, but that would be creepy.
It would be. But I'm just curious to if Stephen King stumbled upon us, or I don't know, actors in certain shows that have stumbled upon us.
Yeah, you never know. Let us know if you're listening. We want to hear that you listened. Anyone and everyone.
And if you were a actor on Blackbird and you have not been interviewed by us,
hit us up. If you were on the crew, if you
writing room, anything.
Yes.
Craft services. We heard good things about craft services on
this.
We did.
Set. Paul mentioned craft services. Everyone involved in the show, hit us up. Taryn Edgerton's hairstylist.
Yes,
please answer our messages.
We have a lot of questions.
We have a lot of questions for you.
A lot.
The most questions. And yeah, anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode, you guys. I think, shit. Oh my God, Kristen.
I can't believe we did it again.
We did it again. We ran out of time.
We even asked him this question.
He had a really good answer.
God. I'm so sorry, Taryn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry, Taryn. We will find time for you.
Mm-hmm. We know you're listening.
With Stephen King.
Yeah. One day we will have enough time to put him on.
One day more.
For Taryn and Stephen King.
Yes. Oh, could you imagine interviewing Stephen King?
He rules.
I'd have so many questions.
I have a lot of questions for him too.
Our next podcast endeavor will be Stephen
Deep
King
dive.
movies.
Anyway,
Anyway, I'm going to go watch Storm of the Century right now because that's on Hulu now. Just kidding. I'm not going to advertise that. That's Let me advertise a random show that has nothing to do with Blackbird on a random streaming service that is not Apple TV Plus, who's not our sponsor either. So what does that matter?
Mm-hmm.
Also, congratulations to all the Apple TV Plus Emmy winners.
Oh my gosh,
Sweet.
all of them.
And Taryn and Paul on the show. On the
presenting
Emmys.
on the show. So good. Their bit was very cute.
It was cute.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
You've seen them on Blackbird, but they've never been mentioned on Black Twitter. Taryn Egerton and Paul Walter Hauser.
When they told me that I was gonna...
Paul, you don't need to do the fake voice from the show. We're just here to present an award.
Got it. Okay, well, same with you then.
Well, this is just the way I speak. This is my voice.
Oh, is it just your voice? Oh. Dude, I'm on to you and your fake British accent. You guys all do it. It's cool. Hugh Dancy, Hugh Grant, Hugh Laurie, Hugh Jackman, all the Hughes. Don't get me started on Will Poulter and Nick Holt.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Did I? That's just my perception. I apologize.
Here are the nominees for writing for a drama series.
Hey, I'm really sorry about what I said about your voice.
That's okay.
You look really handsome.
Thanks, man. And the Emmy goes to Jesse Armstrong for Succession.
Anyway, thank you for listening. We're going to sign off now. This episode's a little chaotic and silly, but that's okay.
That's us.
That's us. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
be a fun idea for a bonus episode is if we just get drunk. Talk about
drunk in like a talk along, like we watched like an episode and like talk along, or
just like record our reactions.
Just do a commentary on the episode,
like actors do for TV shows.
Yeah, but drunk.
A lot of giggling.
Listen, I bet you some of those are drunk too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably.
Have you seen the Twilight ones? Bye. Robert Pattinson is absolutely drunk for that. He's probably drunk for that whole filming of that whole series.
You would hope, right?
Get through it.
I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen any of the Twilight movies?
They're the best trash.
I think so. Before last year or this year, I had only watched the first 2 or 3. Like, I gave up on Twilight early because I read 2.5 books and I'm like, I can't read this trash anymore. And then when the movies came out, and Heidi loved Twilight, she was a Twilight girl for sure. She was like Team Jacob, like had posters.
I still am.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No, I still am. It's just I just know it's trash now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to have trash in your life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
fine,
I have movies that are awful, but I watch them.
Yeah.
All the time.
mean, being a Taron Egerton fan, it's you kind of have to watch Billionaire Boys Club and Robin Hood.
Just had this conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
You gotta wade through it.
Like, we know it's bad, but it's Taron. So.
You gotta push through. Chris Evans, he's got some rough ones.
God, Chris Evans. Like, any rom-com that he's in, except for, like, in the past, 10 years, the ones that he's done are not too bad.
The one he did with Jessica Biel was not great.
No.
What was that one called? London? Is that what that one's called?
Yeah. I don't remember.
It was bad.
I know, What's Your Number was, a popular one, but it's,
that's
not a great movie. It's mostly you want to just watch it because Chris Evans is naked in it, and that's it.
That was hard to get through even with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you see his whole butt, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just naked but covered spots with whipped cream.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about? How much of that am I cutting out? All of it? How did we get here? I'll put that at the end.
Blooper reel.
After the music plays, I'll just put our tangent about Twilight. I don't even know how we got there. Being drunk.
Yeah, the commentaries.
The idea commentary. And
so here's Jake McLaughlin. I don't know if I even said that.
Yeah, you did. You did. We introed him.
Cool.
So I scrolled back in our messages, mine and Sarah's, our text messages, to August 3rd.
Amazing.
In the moment that I saw the notification, Paul Walter Hauser comment, I went to it, screenshot it, and immediately texted my sister. And I said, sister, and sister spelled wrong.
Great start.
Yeah. And then it's a keyword smash. And then I sent the screenshot. And then I said, sister. And then I said, sister again. And then she wasn't responding immediately. She did respond immediately. And then she said, and then keyboard smash. And then I said, keyboard smash, and then screaming. And then she said, Heidi, and then a keyboard smash. And then I said, I'm screaming, and screaming is spelled wrong.
Spelled wrong.
Yeah. It's a theme. And then Sarah said, I'm throwing up. And throwing and up are both spelled wrong.
Good.
And yes, up is spelled
up wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then I said, I cannot. OMG. Keyboard smash. OMG. You're kidding. I'm OMG. And the last OMG is spelled wrong. It's ON.
Wait. OMG is spelled wrong.
Yeah. And then Sarah said, keyboard smash. And then, is this real? Like, for real? And then I said, I'm crying, and crying is spelled wrong. And Sarah said, how am I supposed to work today? And supposed is spelled wrong. And I said, same, WTF, I'm gonna throw up. And it's like capitalized all weird. I don't know what I did there. And then Sarah said, oh my God, fucking. And then I said,
wait, oh my God, fucking?
Yep.
End of sentence?
Yep. It's two different things. So, oh my God is one message, and then fucking is the next message. And that's it. Most of this is in all caps, by the way. Or it's like capitalized funky, because, yeah. And then I said, did you tell Kristen, is she screaming? And she said, yes, she's in a meeting. And then keyboard smash. And then I said, Kristen, wake up. I don't know.
She's in a meeting. Wake up.
Wake up. I don't know. And then Sarah said she's freaking out. And then I said keyboard smash. And then the guy with 4 Ys, and then a keyboard smash.
The guy. You have to say it, Heidi.
The guy. Okay. 4 Ys, keyboard smash. And then Sarah said, the main guy, like the guy in the show, like that guy. And then Larry Hall. And I said, the main guy, he knows about the pod. And then she started talking about logistics. We slowly calmed down. But throughout the rest of the day is a lot of that just randomly.
Yeah. Because it'll just like pop back in our head. Like, oh my God, wait, did Paul Walter Hauser comment on our post today?
Yeah.
There was a lot of that over the last month. Like, are we really, is that really happening?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, sweet. We solidified plans with Cullen, got Carter Bellaimey's stuff back. Pics of the real Jimmy Keene on set came out. What a good day. Little did I know, in all caps. Little did we all know.
No, because I literally said, I don't even care what happens for the rest of the day. Like, referencing like that line from How I Met Your Mother when Barney gets 2 bags of gummy bears from the vending machine while they're waiting for the baby to be born.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care what happens the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That was a sign.
Yeah. Paul motherfucking Walter fucking Hauser. That was a direct quote from Sarah.
That's how we refer to him. Motherfucking Walter fucking Hauser.
Oh, we also had 420 followers on Instagram, so I said Blaze with the little.
Okay.
Sorry guys, I live in California, so what are you gonna do?
Kristen's the only one where it's not legal, actually. But if Beto wins, he's gonna legalize it. Knock wood.
For many reasons.
Right. Not just the weed reason.
I just scrolled through mine up to August 3rd.
Oh my God.
Sarah.
Let's hear it.
So it started at 9:03 my time with a text from Sarah that said, can we do Friday evening with Cullen? And I just said, of course, no, like no emotion, because I'm texting from my watch.
Yeah.
And then it was, woke up to a message from him and to Carter's recordings. And all I said was, ah. And then I think that was at 9:30 I responded. And then at 9:45 I said, sorry, I was in the dentist answering for my watch. Ah. With
real emotion now.
Yes. And then at 10:50 I said, I cannot believe we've been able to get these people. And then there was a lot of talking about Cullen and me saying I won't fangirl.
That was a lie.
Then at 12:49 was the Jimmy and Taryn picture. And it was, again. Sarah said at 12:52, what a great day. Solidified plans with Cullen. Carter sent us his clips, and now this, which was the picture of Jimmy and Taryn. And I said, it's been an amazing early birthday gift.
Right. Yeah, because that's the day before your birthday.
I said at 1:44, we just need Paul and or Taryn. And Sarah said, if you get Paul, that's a home run. And that was at 1:45. And I said, who are we? We are definitely winning the game.
Then start baseball analogies.
153, Blue Clarke followed us.
Yay.
Then we start talking about Blue and how the questions for him. And, mind-blowing, a lot of crying faces. So then that was at 2:30 with our questions to Blue. At 2:38, it was a lot of letters. Kristen, oh my God, Kristen. Kristen, spelled wrong. I'm going to throw up with the picture of Paul's comment. And at 2:39, I said, oh my God, Sarah, oh my God, I'm in a meeting and I'm geeking out. Greeking out. Freaking out.
Greeking out.
I'm crying. Paul Walter Hauser wants to be on the show. I'm trying so hard not to cry. Oh my God, oh my God. I'm trying to pay attention in this meeting, but my brain is on overdrive. Who are we? Home run. We just manifested this. Look at us. Look at our power. A lot of just letters. There's
just key smashes.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't seem real. I'm in shock that we manifested this. This is more than I could ever imagine. Blowing my mind. Us talking about the secret safe because he commented on an old post,
right?
So
yeah,
nobody
I was like, that was clever. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but it was very no one's looking at this post anymore. It's 3 weeks old.
Yeah. The fact that we were talking about it at 12 o'clock, that would be so fun to get Paul or Taryn. Literally. And then it happened at 2:30.
Yeah.
That's just, it's just a lot of oh my God, oh my God.
It's a lot of keywords, Matt.
A lot of typos, sorry for the typos. Me spelling Paul's name wrong a lot. It's a lot of screaming and mind-blowing emojis.
Yeah. I know we did a lot of reflecting oh my gosh, look at where we started. And now look at us.
A lot of manifesting symbols.
A couple days before that, he had viewed the Instagram story.
I forgot about that.
Oh, the day before, actually.
Just one of our posts about one of our shows, one of our episodes or something. Yeah. And he viewed it. I remember freaking out about that too.
Yeah.
With you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, does Paul know we exist?
Yeah.
Then the next day. Social media is so powerful.
Yeah, no kidding.
And dangerous.
Yeah.
But it worked out for us with Paul.
It helped us a lot for everyone.
Yeah. For a lot of them. Yeah. Anyway, that's our little freak out. And we got Paul.
We did. And ran out of room for Taryn.
Oh, dang.
Every week.
This keeps happening. Next time.